We have breaking news for you right off the top of this newscast tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. A federal judge in Detroit has ruled Michigan's ban on gay marriage is unconstitutional. The trial of the voter-approved ban wrapped up 2 weeks ago, and our Nick Perot joins us now live from the Ingham County Courthouse in Mason with the very latest. Nick, this is a big day for the Great Lakes State.
Well, Jane, that's right. And right now we are outside of Ingham County Courthouse, where Ingham County Clerk Barb Byron said waiting for this decision to come down. If it did come down, she would issue those marriage licenses as soon as possible, if that's possible. Now, Attorney General Bill Schuette has issued an emergency stay, has asked for an emergency stay, rather, on this. So it has to go through the appeal process before they can issue those licenses. And Barb, if you want to join me in here now, what does this mean for you, for your involvement in this? To hear this decision come down and it's ruled unconstitutional?
Well, we all knew it was unconstitutional, and it's finally been decided by the judge that it's unconstitutional. All people should be treated equally. So we got the decision about 5:03:04, so the vault was locked, everything was locked. So now we will be ready to go first thing Monday morning. The office opens at 8 a.m.
Now, with asking for that stay from Attorney General Bill Schuette, what does that do in terms? You said earlier when this were to come through that this is something you're going to acknowledge those licenses. With him asking for that now, what does that do in your minds?
Well, what I've said since day one is Schuette on duty interprets the law. He doesn't set the law. So if he has requested a stay, that's exactly what it is a request. It may or may not be heard. It may or may not be granted. So I need to get a hold of this decision. I actually have this decision so I can process it, regroup with my office, and we'll be ready to go Monday morning.
So with that, 8 a.m. Monday morning, it'll be interesting to see what's going on out here in Ingham County. We'll make sure to stay with 6 News for the very latest. For now, live in Mason, Nick Perot, 6 News.
This is 6 News. We begin tonight with developing news. A federal judge in Detroit has ruled that Michigan's voter-approved ban on same-sex marriage is unconstitutional.
This decision came down about an hour ago, and it does open the door for gay and lesbian couples to be married in the state of Michigan. Taking a look at the ruling itself, federal judge Bernard Friedman writes, in attempting to define this case as a challenge to the will of the people, state defendants lost sight of what this case is truly about. People.
He goes on to say that the court finds that the MMA, or the Michigan Marriage Amendment, impermissibly discriminates against same-sex couples in violation of the Equal Protection Clause because the provision does not advance any conceivable legitimate state interest. Obviously, this is a controversial ruling, but whether or not you agree with what the judge ruled, this certainly is a historic decision.
Yeah, very historic. And Nick Perot has been following this story for us. He joins us now live from the Ingham County Courthouse in Mason. And Nick, what can you tell us about from there?
Well, Jane, Greg, Ingham County Clerk Barb Byron said the fact that over the last few years, same-sex couples as well as people have been treated unfairly, and that is just unacceptable. And she says they should be treated as equals. So she says she'll be ready. Offices will be ready here starting 8 a.m. Monday, both those in Ingham County in Lansing and here in Mason. When those doors open 8 a.m. Monday, they'll be ready to approve those marriage licenses.
I took an oath to follow the law, and I will do that. The law has changed at this moment. Unfortunately, it's Friday evening and nothing's open, but Monday morning is a whole new week.
And guys, Ingham County Clerk Barb Byron says, look, this is simply a long time coming in her opinion. She's glad to be a part of this process and offer those equal rights to same-sex couples across the state. And guys, this is something very exciting for Barb Byron. Again, excited to be a part of this process. Come 8 a.m., she says she'll be ready. Make sure to stay with 6 News. We'll have much more on this story. For now, live from Ingham County Courthouse in Mason, Nick Perot, 6 News.
All right, Nick, thanks. Now, even with today's decision, it may not be the end of the debate over the issue in the courts.
Yeah, because immediately after the judge's decision came down this afternoon, shortly after 5 o'clock, Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette announced that he is filing a request for an emergency stay. Now, the Attorney General says in a statement released today, quote, in 2004, the citizens of Michigan recognized that diversity in parenting is best for kids and families because moms and dads are not interchangeable.
This is 6 News.
We are going to get married. We want to get married. A federal judge rules the state's same-sex marriage ban is unconstitutional, opening the door to gay and lesbian couples to marry in Michigan. This landmark decision is our top story tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sherry Jones.
And I'm Greg Adeline. After over 2 weeks of deliberation, a federal judge has overturned Michigan's voter-approved ban of same-sex marriage.
Now, the ruling comes after a 9-day trial in Detroit and stems from a lawsuit filed by 2 women from Hazel Park.
They're raising 3 special needs children, but couldn't adopt each other's children under state law. So they challenged the ban, which in 2004 passed with support of 60% of voters. Now, after weeks of waiting, the 2 women at the center of the suit listened for the judge's ruling today. Today's decision makes Michigan the 18th state where same-sex marriage is currently legal. We have team coverage for you tonight on the verdict and reactions, but we begin by looking at the ruling itself. Federal Judge Bernard Friedman writes, in attempting to define this case as a challenge to the will of the people, state defendants lost sight of what this case is truly about: people. Today's ruling certainly brings out strong emotions from people on both sides of this debate. Those in favor of same-sex marriage hail the verdict as one that's long overdue, while others are already using the law to fight the judge's decision. Emerald Morrow has our story.
Because love it's an equal right for everybody. We should love who we love.
When a federal judge overturned the state's ban on same-sex marriage, Michaela Wyeth got emotional.
At first, I cried. It's amazing.
For Wyeth and many others in mid-Michigan, today's ruling marks a pivotal moment in history.
I think it's a huge step in the right direction. A lot of positive movement toward more inclusion.
It just seems to be a domino effect of these states that are finally seeing the light about equality.
But she's also concerned this decision could be reversed.
A little bit nervous too, and because we've had such high hopes over and over and over again, and then whether it's going to be slammed down again or how that's going to happen.
And there is some cause for concern as Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette is already appealing the decision, saying he's upholding a 2004 voter-approved amendment that defines marriage as a union between a man and a woman.
Marriage between a man and a woman, I mean, please, I don't get it.
And while critics of this ruling may see things differently, the decision stands and couples can head to the courthouse, at least for now. In Lansing, Emerald Morrow, 6 News.
All right, Emerald, thanks. Well, Governor Snyder says he respects the ruling, but recognizes that an appeal will be filed. Earlier today, Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette says that he's filing an emergency stay request for the decision. Governor Snyder says if voters decide to change the law or a court finalizes the ruling, he will respect the decision and follow the law.
Though the decision came down today, there are still many legal questions that remain. The Attorney General has said that he's making it clear that they're seeking an emergency stay, as we said, on same-sex marriages. How that will play out is unclear, but our Joe Khalil sought out some answers about the long-term effects of the judge's decision. Joe, what did you find?
Greg, certainly a monumental decision that came down today, but this is by no means the end of this debate or of this issue. In fact, I spoke with a Cooley Law School professor tonight. She says she was surprised Judge Friedman didn't issue a temporary stay on those marriage licenses like many of the other judges who ruled on the issue did. So again, Monday morning, those licenses are going to be legal. They are going to be legitimate for now, but it may not stay that way for long.
Theoretically, those couples are going to sit somewhat in limbo, waiting for a final strike of the ban, which may go all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, waiting to, in essence, receive the benefits of that marriage, tax benefits, anything dealing with state benefits. They'll wait on that, but it is the adaptation, it is the growth of this nation, and it's a growth toward equality.
And Greg, Professor Horvath says, don't be surprised if you see this case come up in front of the Supreme Court sometime next year. Reporting in Lansing, I'm Joe Khalil, 6 News.
All right, Joe, thanks. Well, we've heard from Governor Snyder, lawmakers, and legal experts on today's ruling, but we wanted to know what you thought. So for that, we turned to our Facebook page where hundreds of comments poured in after the ruling was announced. Nick McNeely comments,
How do I feel? It's 2014 and we're still fighting for equal rights for all Americans. I feel ashamed it took us this long.
Charlie Picala thinks that judges shouldn't be involved after the voters approve a law. He writes, I think federal judges should leave well enough alone. We voted. It became law. If the people vote it back out of law, then it is what it is. Until then, leave the people's votes alone. If you'd like to weigh in on the ruling, just head to our website, WLNS.com. Click on the Facebook icon at the top of the page.
Well, today's ruling is expected to be appealed. We'll continue our coverage of the reaction and changes that this decision will bring.